eastern sections. We can divide and kept under it as a eastern section. Okay. So let's see first the boundaries of this and understand its division.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So here there is Amarkantak. And from here the river which originates and drain into Ganga. This is Son. Now here Garo, Khashi and Jayantiya. Meghalaya or Shillong Plateau. Now, when you look at here, Bhutanagpur, Chota Nagpur Plateau. The eastern border of this is here made by the Rajmahal Hills. Rajmahal Hills. And the extension of Chota Nagpur is the Ranchi and Ramgarh Plateau also. Yeah, Hazaribagh. So this extension of it is the Ranchi Plateau. Hazaribagh Plateau, because that reason is again very important for mineral point of view. So what I am going to discuss here, the eastern plateau and hills region of India. And in the eastern plateau and hills region, what region I am going to discuss? The region which lies between this area. So I am going to discuss this region, I am going to discuss this region. Okay. So first you have to understand what reason I am going to learn. So make this diagram, then I will explain the feature. Now another very vital river in this is the Damodar river, okay, which is flowing here. And as you know, the Damodar is now draining into the Bay of Bengal, okay. So dissecting the Chota Nagpur Plateau and moving from this region. So when you look at the flow of Damodar, and Damodar is flowing in the Rift Valley. Okay. Now here you can find out the Sibhum Plateau. Sibhum Plateau. So one by one mark. And when you look at here, this is the Chhattisgarh region. So in this region you find the Chhattisgarh basin. Chhattisgarh basin. This basin is formed by the river of Chhattisgarh, Ib river, Hasdo river, Mand river. All these river you can find out in that region, the region of Chhattisgarh. Okay, so you can mark that river, which is the tributary of Mahanadi, Ib, Mand, Hasdu River. Then Jharkhand. Dandakaranya. So one by one, you have to learn and make Dandakaranya in Chhattisgarh region, Dandakaranya plateau. Aranyak means jungle in Sanskrit. So Dandakaranya. What I am going to discuss this region. So I am to what I am going to discuss here, Eastern plateau and hills. So in Eastern Plateau and Hills, I am going to discuss about, first I had given you the idea of the boundaries. Here, what I have said that this is a gap which created due to subduction of rocks. Why the subduction? Due to the tectonic activity and Himalayan upheaval. When the Himalaya started rising, due to tectonic event, the subduction is going on, and that's why the rocks of this region, okay, shrinks down, and due to which a gap is created, and this gap, as I have said yesterday, is known as Malda Garo gap. Now, when this gap was created, this Shillong plateau is separated from the Indian main peninsular region. Earlier it was part of the main peninsular region because this region was connected with the northeastern part. But the Malda Garo gap create a, what it creates? It creates a gap. So this is a gap. What we called it? Malda Garo gap. Okay. So here there is a place which is in Bengal, Malda, and this is the Garo, okay, which is the part of Shillong plateau. So it is known as Malda Garo gap. Okay. Now this gap is filled up and become flat. The deposits of the sediments carried by the Brahmaputra river and its tributary, as well as the Ganga and its tributaries, due to this sediment, this portion is now filled up and become flat. Okay, this Malda Garo gap. So now it is a very fertile region, okay, because the new sediments is carried by the rivers. So that sediments make this region flat. Okay. तो इस एरिया को पढ़ते हैं वन बाय वन. वी अंडरस्टैंड द फीचर्स ऑफ छोटा नागपुर प्लेट्यू. सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ प्लेट्यू यू must understand? Amarkantak I had covered already, so I'm not going to cover Amarkantak. Why I have make Amarkantak here? Because the zone is originating and zone is forming the western boundary of this region. ईस्टर्न पार्ट का पश्चिम का जो बाउंड्री है ये सोन बना रही है, ठीक है ना। इसके इधर का रीजन हमने पढ़ लिया है, अब ये रीजन पढ़ने वाला है। फिर उसमें इस रीजन में क्या क्या प्लेटू इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू लर्न द प्लेटू इन द पेनिनसुलर पार्ट। मैंने कहा छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू, सो आई विल डिस्कस द फीचर ऑफ छोटा नागपुर and its extension, the Ranchi and the Hazaribagh and Ramgarh, as well as I will also discuss the Rajmahal Hills, which is now extension of Deccan lava plateau, लेकिन वो लावा का एक्सटेंशन है इस रीजन में, which forms the boundaries between the बिहार, झारखंड एंड वेस्ट बंगाल। तो राजमहल का एक्सटेंशन 3 स्टेट्स में आपको दिखाई देगा एट द बाउंड्री ऑफ बिहार, झारखंड एज वेल एज इन वेस्ट बंगाल। ओके, now the Sibhum plateau, okay, which forms the boundary with the Odisha region, okay, as well as Bengal, so Sibhum. Now apart from that, in Chhattisgarh there is a Chhattisgarh basin which is known as the rice bowl of India. It is known as rice bowl of India. Why? Because this is a very fertile plain, the Chhattisgarh basin, known for rice cultivation, so it is known as rice bowl of India. Further I will explain. And then Dandakaranya, infamous for Nakshals, okay, Dandakaranya, and we find out the iron and bauxite minerals are present in the region. So let's see one by one all these important structure and their relief features. So let's see, this is the discussion now. What I have mentioned here is that Eastern Plateau and hills separated from the Shillong Plateau by the Rajmahal Garo Gap. In the map, I had discussed that how the Shillong Plateau is separated. Shillong Plateau separated from the Indian peninsular region, the main peninsular region, due to subduction. And why the subduction is going on? Why the rock is subducted? Because of tectonic activity when Himalayan upheaval takes place, when Himalayas height is rising. Due to this, okay, imbalances create the tectonic imbalances and the rocks is subducted, so a fault is created, that is the Malda Garo Gap, so which is a zone of subduction and due to Himalayan rise. Okay, now the subduction zone now filled with the Ganga Brahmaputra deposits. I had already discussed that now that gap is gradually filled by the sediments which is carried by the Brahmaputra and its tributaries as well as the Ganga river. So now it's become a flat structure. Son River, which originate from the Amarkantak, okay, the extension of the Mekal, as you know, have formed the boundaries from the western side. किसका boundary? Eastern Plateau and Hills region का. Okay, because regional scales पे हम पढ़ रहे हैं अभी, ठीक है. Now, once you look at Chota Nagpur Plateau, again a very important plateau in this region, has a several subdivisions. अभी छोटे नागपुर का ये सब डिवीजन मैं डिस्कस करने वाला हूँ. फर्स्ट इज राजमहल हिल्स, विच इज द सब डिवीजन ऑफ द छोटा नागपुर प्लेटू. सो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड द लोकेशन एज वेल एज फीचर ऑफ राजमहल. भी मैंने कहा कि राजमहल जो है वो वोल्केनिक डिपॉजिट से बना है, वो एक्सटेंशंस है. मैं आपको याद होगा व्हेन आई वाज डिस्कसिंग द डेक्कन लावा ट्रैप, I had discussed that trap means a stair and like a structure, and that Deccan trap is formed at the end of Cretaceous. The formation begins which continue till Eocene period, and due to fissure eruption when Indian plate is moving from the reunion hotspot, of crack is created through which due to fissure eruption the basaltic lava erupted out. So the Rajmahal is extension of that. Okay, so in the northeast of the Chota Nagpur Plateau, this hills is present, which is largely made up of basalt lava, which is the oldest volcanic deposit. Okay, so here of course मैंने बताया था कि when the basaltic lava means this igneous rocks, when weathered, it forms the black soil. मैंने बताया था अभी आपको, डेक्कन रीजन में भी बताया या मालवा रीजन में भी बताया कि वहाँ ब्लैक सॉइल होते हैं। क्यों? क्योंकि ये जो बेसाल्टिक रॉक जब वेदर्ड होते हैं तो ये ब्लैक सॉइल बनाते हैं। एंड ब्लैक सॉइल इज अ वेरी फर्टाइल सॉइल, okay, especially for the cotton growth as well as sugarcane growth. Water retention ability is high, okay. The particle grain size of the soil is fine, so it having the water retention ability. But ये क्या होता है, ड्राई होते हैं तो फट जाते हैं ये। इनकी फीचर क्या है ब्लैक सॉइल की, जब ये ड्राई होंगे तो इनमें दरारें पड़ जाती हैं, क्रैक्स क्रिएट हो जाते हैं। इजी नहीं होता कल्टीवेट करना, इनको इरिगेट करना पड़ेगा कल्टीवेशन के लिए। लेकिन इरिगेट करोगे एक बार तो वाटर ज़्यादा समय तक होल्ड करते हैं। क्लेई स्ट्रक्चर है, फाइन पार्टिकल है। हाईएस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ राजमहल हिल्स, ये आपको हिल याद करना होगा क्योंकि प्लेटू और हिल्स भी पढ़ रहे हैं। पारसनाथ नाम, जैसे मैं कल डिस्कस कर रहा था सतपुड़ा, मैंने आपको धूपगढ़ के बारे में बताया था। धूपगढ़ इज द हाईएस्ट पॉइंट। Parashnath is the highest point in of Jharkhand, and it lies in the Rajmahal Hills region. And Parashnath, as you know, the Parshvanath was a Jain Tirthankar. तो उन्हीं जैन तीर्थंकर पार्श्वनाथ के नाम पर इस हिल का नाम पारसनाथ पड़ा। ओके, सो हियर देयर इज अ जैन टेम्पल। दिस हिल इज वेरी फेमस फॉर जैन टेम्पल। इट इज अ जैन पिलग्रिमेज सेंटर। ओके, so it is a Jain pilgrimage center named after the Jain Tirthankar, second last, 23rd, because Mahavira is the last Jain Tirthankar. So Mahavira के पहले कौन थे? Parshvanath. So on the name of the Parshvanath, this hill is. This is the highest point of the Jharkhand as well as Rajmahal Hills. Okay. Now लोकेशन मैंने बता दिया है, मैप मैंने ड्रॉ कर दिया था। अब आगे देखेंगे द सेकेंड सब डिवीजन ऑफ द छोटानागपुर प्लेटू, दामोदर वैली, द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वैली of this region because this valley is compared with the Ruhr region, Ruhr Valley of Germany. Okay, the geographer compare this region with the Ruhr Valley of Germany. Why? Because of the huge amount of coal deposits. Coal deposits. Okay. Huge amount of coal deposit is present, Gondwana coal. So Damodar is flowing in a rift valley or the graben, and the rocks are of Gondwana period. Okay, north of it is quartzite. Quartzite is present north to the Damodar valley, and a series of Dharwad as well as Kadapa rock series are also present in this region. Try to recall the classes what I have discussed earlier. So this Damodar is why very unique, because it is flowing in a rift valley or the graben. I had already discussed how the rift valley or graben forms. I had discussed that if this is a rock, and if over this rock the टेंशनल फोर्सेस राइजेस, अंदर से एनर्जी जो अर्थ के नीचे है, क्रस्ट के नीचे, वो एनर्जी दो डिफरेंट डायरेक्शन में मूव करे अगर मैट, ठीक है, तो उस एनर्जी के कारण ये रॉक्स के ऊपर कई बार क्या होते हैं, स्ट्रेसेस क्रिएट होते हैं, एंड ड्यू टू दैट शियर जोन इज क्रिएटेड, अ फॉल्ट इज क्रिएटेड। यहाँ पे क्रैक्स क्रिएट होता है। अलोंग दिस क्रैक्स व्हेन द रॉक्स स्टार्टेड स्लाइडिंग वी कॉल्ड इट फॉल्ट। अगर इस क्रैक के अलोंग रॉक्स स्लाइड करने लगे तो हम उससे फॉल्ट कहते हैं। तो अभी क्या होगा कि ड्यू टू दिस एक्टिविटी समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपन, if this rock is at the same place but this rock is started sliding, skidding, then we observe such kind of structure। ये यहीं रह गया अपनी जगह पर और ये नीचे आ गए, ठीक है। सो दिस इज नोन एज ग्रैबन, दिस इज नोन एज ग्रैबन और रिफ्ट वैली। or Rift Valley, or as I have said, this is known as horst. This plateau-like structure, flat, horst or block mountain. So the दामोदर इज फ्लोइंग इन द रिफ्ट वैली. वो रॉक्स जो नीचे चले गए हैं, ये वैली बन गई, उसमें स्लोप मिल गया, स्लोप में वो फ्लो कर रही है रिफ्ट वैली. सो द रॉक ऑफ द वैली इज वेरी हार्ड. तो इसीलिए जहाँ रिफ्ट वैली है वहाँ नीचे बेस, जो नदी का अगर बेस देखेंगे, वो हार्ड रॉक के ऊपर रिवर फ्लो कर रही है. ठीक है. Now, as you know, Damodar is a peninsular river. Okay, so basically fed by the rainfall. इसका source क्या है? Rainfall है. Now, north of Damodar river, when you look at the Damodar location on the map, north of Damodar is Hazaribagh Plateau. Now, the extension of Hazaribagh is Koderma, and Koderma is very famous for mica. Okay. From Koderma to Gaya, there is a largest stretch of mica belt is present. Okay, so from Koderma to Gaya, this is the largest mica belt. Okay, so Koderma is an extension of the Hazaribagh Plateau. South of Damodar, when you look at, there is a Ranchi Plateau, and southeast of the Damodar is a Sibhum Plateau. So Damodar is surrounded by various plateaus. क्या क्या है प्लेट्यूज? तो बोला हजारीबाग इन द नॉर्थ, इन द साउथ देयर इज अ रांची, एंड इन साउथ ईस्ट देयर इज अ सीभूम. ओके, एंड दामोदर इज वेरी फेमस फॉर व्हाट आई हैव सेड, द कोल डिपॉजिट. ओके, गोंडवाना कोल. सो द रीजन ऑफ धनबाद, द रीजन ऑफ झरिया, व्हेन यू लुक एट, ओके, एंड इन बंगाल द रानीगंज, दिस इज फेमस फॉर कोल. Okay, so that's why the geographer compare it with the Ruhr Valley, because Ruhr River Valley in Germany is also famous for coal deposit. जर्मनी का ये जो नदी है रूर, ठीक है ना, राइन की ट्रिब्यूटरी है, तो राइन और रूर वैली इज वेरी फेमस फॉर कोल डिपॉजिट, कोल शीम. That's why the geographer compare this valley of Germany with the Damodar. Now when you look at the Ranchi Plateau, the Ranchi Plateau is dissected by the Suvarnarekha river. Okay, so which river is flowing through this Suvarnarekha? Suvarnarekha river. So mark the Suvarnarekha river. The Suvarnarekha river is known for the gold in their placer deposit. इनके शैंड में गोल्ड मिलते हैं. किस रिवर के? सुवर्णरेखा रिवर के. एंड सुवर्णरेखा रिवर इज फ्लोइंग थ्रू द रांची प्लेटू. ओके, dissected this plateau. Largely this plateau are made up of sedimentary and metamorphic rock, the Ranchi Plateau. Okay, and the Suvarnarekha and its tributary form the picturesque waterfall. There are so many waterfall you find nearby the Ranchi. The very famous waterfall are the Hundru. Okay, Hundru is a very famous waterfall. Okay, Dasham is again very famous waterfall. So Dasham, Jonha, Hundru. So what are the waterfalls you find along this region? Hundru. Okay, रुक जाओ. दशम, Jonha. These are very famous waterfall along the Ranchi Plateau. Okay, Hundru, Dasham, Jonha, these are the famous waterfall along this region. So having potential of tourism as well as HEP potential is also there. And Damodar, as you know, further I will discuss later on, Damodar के ऊपर फर्स्ट मल्टीपर्पस रिवर वैली प्रोजेक्ट बनाया गया इसके ऊपर, फेमसली नोन एज दामोदर वैली कॉरपोरेशन. And under Damodar Valley Corporation, the 7 dams has been built, and out of that 7, the 5 dam is built earlier. Okay. So Damodar is also known. This is the DVC, Damodar Valley Corporation is the first multi-purpose river valley project of India on the line of Tennessee Valley project of US. इसके लिए भारत सरकार ने यूएस से इंजीनियर्स और मंगाए थे साइंटिस्ट, जियोलॉजिस्ट, और उसके आधार पे वहाँ एक रिवर है यूएस में, टेनेसी रिवर. तो टेनेसी रिवर पर जिन इंजीनियर्स ने डैम्स बिल्ड किए थे उन्हीं को बुलाया गया, और उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि यहाँ भी डिज़ाइन किए गए. उस प्रोजेक्ट का नाम दिया गया दामोदर वैली कॉरपोरेशन. ठीक है. सो इट इज़ अ फर्स्ट multi-purpose river valley project. Now the Sibhum region. So I had discussed about the feature of the Damodar river valley, which is known for the coal deposits. Okay, but why the Damodar? Damodar is now shrinking because once you look at Damodar is flowing through very important mining and industrial belt of India, and it is highly polluted river. So due to pollution, now the Damodar is shrinking. So the major problem with the geologist as well as geographer and environmentalist, how to rejuvenate the Damodar river. So what is the biggest problem is one of the most polluted river of India, most polluted river, Damodar. And another feature is that, as you know, in Bihar, the Koshi is very infamous for flood. Like that, Damodar is also infamous for flood. And that's why the government has built, the purpose to build the dam over the Damodar is to, because this region is a water scarce region. It is a plateau region, and plateau region is always a water scarce area. And the purpose of the dam is to provide the water supply not only for the potable drinking water but for irrigation also, as well as to generate the electricity. Why we built the dam on the Damodar and its tributary? To create the electricity, to generate electricity, as well as to supply the water for irrigation, supply water for industry, as well as why? For the potable drinking water. That's why we called this project as a multi-purpose river valley project. Okay. But what happened, as you know, that this region of Damodar is again the mining as well as industrial belt. बोकारो में इंडस्ट्री है, धनबाद झरिया में माइंस हैं, मैंने कहा बंगाल में माइंस हैं, सिभूम रीजन में टाटा है, वहाँ पर इंडस्ट्री है. सो इस तरह से क्या है, चितरंजन में इंडस्ट्रीज है. तो क्या हुआ कि यहाँ पर, एंड देयर इज अ ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन प्रेशर, बिकॉज व्हेन दिस रीजन गेट अर्बनाइज्ड, पॉपुलेशन प्रेशर इंक्रीजेस, so due to which this river is polluted. Now Damodar is also very notorious and infamous for flood. Damodar is known as sorrow of Bengal. Damodar को क्या बोलते हैं? Sorrow of Bengal. So must keep in mind, Damodar is known as sorrow of Bengal. Why? Because of recurrent flood. Now we are able to manage the flood after this multi-purpose river valley project. Okay, somehow. So which river is known as sorrow of Bengal? Damodar. Okay. Now next, तो मैंने आपको हजारीबाग प्लेटू बताया, उसका एक्सटेंशन कोडरमा, फेमस फॉर माइका बेल्ट. ओके. Then Ranchi Plateau मैंने बताया, Ranchi Plateau sedimentary metamorphic rock largely present in this region, and Suvarnrekha River, picturesque waterfall I had discussed. Okay. Now when you look at average elevation is 800 to 1200 meter. Okay, when you look at the Ranchi Plateau, average elevation is 800 to 1200 meter, and the Ranchi Plateau has many highlands made up of sedimentary base and the lateritic caps known as parkland. जैसे नेतरहाट का नाम सुना होगा, नेतरहाट is very famous for a school, and it is a tourist spot. Here what we find that here there is a unique structure, unique landform is present. We called it parkland. अब इसे क्या बोलते हैं? Parkland कहते हैं. Parkland का बेस क्या है? सेडिमेंट्री, पर इसमें लेटराइटी कैप है. अभी मैं दिखाऊंगा. ठीक है. So let's look at what is parkland. Okay. So when you move to this region, what you observe that in the Ranchi Plateau region, adjacent to it, there is a sedimentary base. Sedimentary rocks are there, and over these sedimentary rocks, as I have said, laterites forms the cap. Okay, this is the laterite cap. Now what happened? Laterite is hard to erode. In this river, in this region, the rivers are flowing on this. ठीक है ना? तो इसके ऊपर रिवर फ्लो कर रहे हैं. से फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस इज द सेडिमेंट्री रॉक and over which there is a layer of what? Lateritic soil. What happened when the river is flowing? Laterite is hard to erode. It is not easily eroded. But the region where the laterite is not present is easily eroded. Okay, so the river when started flowing in this region, the rivers easily erode this region and started forming the valley. यहाँ से नदी चल रही है तो नदी नीचे कट करती है. ओके ना, वैलीज बनाती है. इफ रिवर इज फ्लोइंग, द रिवर इज कटिंग डाउन एंड मेक द वैलीज. और ये लेटेराइट कैप है तो यहाँ बीच में वैली बनेगी, नदी नीचे चलती चली जाएगी और आगे भी बढ़ती चली जाएगी. तो इट फॉर्म्स. सो व्हाट हैपन gradually after certain period of time, what we observe in this region, rivers cut this area and forms what? Valleys. And this region is protected due to lateritic cap. तो यहाँ तुम फ्लैट सरफेस देखते हो, बीच में नदी चल रही है और ये ओके. सो दिस वेयर द लेटेराइटी कैप, इसके कारण सेडिमेंट्री रॉक्स इजली इरोड हो गए. यहाँ पर सेडिमेंट्री था, यहाँ लेटेराइटिक प्रोटेक्शन नहीं था, इसलिए यहाँ इजली वो कट गया. तो तुम्हें क्या दिखाई देगा? रिज एंड वैली. यहाँ बीच में ऐसे माउंटेन लाइक स्ट्रक्चर दिखाई देंगे, बीच में नदी, यानी ऊंचा क्षेत्र नदी. इसको हम कहते हैं फ्लैट. दिस फ्लैट सरफेस with the ridge and valley topography is known as parkland. So in the region of Palamu, in as well as in Gadhwa district as well as Latehar district, but you find such kind of, here the river is flowing, say for example Koyal, Amanat. Okay, these river dissect the sedimentary rocks, but the lateritic caps are there. So in this belt, through the lateritic cap, as you know, the brick formation is going on. लोग ईंट बनाते हैं, ईंट भट्ठे बहुत मिलेंगे. ठीक है, क्यों? क्योंकि लेटेराइटिक सॉइल है, यूज किया जाता. सो इन दिस रीजन ऑफ झारखंड व्हाट यू फाइंड? द पार्टलैंड. उस एरिया को क्या बोलते हैं? इस एरिया को क्या बोलेंगे? पार्टलैंड. ठीक है. सो मेक दिस डायग्राम. You have to draw this diagram in examination when you are explaining this region. Okay. So now let's see the next feature. Now Shebhum Plateau. Now the Shebhum Plateau, when you look at the Jamshedpur, the iron and steel factory set up by JRD, was in Shebhum region. Why in the Shebhum region? When you look at this region, there is accessibility of the minerals, there is accessibility of power, there is accessibility of the port, because Shebhum is close to the West Bengal, that is the Kolkata port, as well as from Odisha, that is Paradip port. So as you know, the produce needs the market, and international markets में जाने के लिए आपको port facility चाहिए. So why this region has been chosen by industrialists? Because of locational factor. Okay, locational factor advantage क्या है? सेभूम region में minerals available हैं, आसपास HEP projects हैं, तो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अवेलेबल है, चीप लेबर अवेलेबल थे वहाँ पर. इन द रीजन ऑफ झारखंड, बंगाल एंड बिहार, दैट वाज अंडर प्रिविलेज्ड स्टेट, सो देयर आर backwardness, socio-economic backwardness, so the cheap labor is available. Okay, so that's when you look at why the industry has been set up by the industrialist in that belt, there are multiple reasons behind it. Okay, so when you look at the Sebhum is earlier I had discussed with you people that in the ancient time there was a mobile zone, Sebhum mobile zone, and that is a geosyncline. And in that geosyncline, when the sediments deposited, it crumbled, folded, and formed the शेभूम माउंटेन. मैंने आपको बताया था सेभूम में माउंटेन बना. अभी आपको पीछे आप जाके देखेंगे तो I had discussed that Sebhum was a mountain, but when this mountain was created, okay, this mountain is very old, okay, more than 2 billion before present, and this mountain is further dissected. Now the relict form of this mountain is present. वो आज प्लेटू के फॉर्म में दिखता है, बट एग्जैक्टली वो प्लेटू था नहीं, वो माउंटेन था, बट वो रेलिक्ट फॉर्म में है आज. वो डाइसेक्ट हो गया, डिन्यूड हो गया, ओके, और अभी वो उसके रिमेन्स बचे. एंड दैट रीजन इज नोन फॉर वेरियस काइंड ऑफ मिनरल्स. निकल भी है, यूरेनियम भी है. जादूगुड़ा माइंस, हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट जादूगुड़ा? ओके, so that is present in that region. So the volatile and non-volatile minerals are present in this region. Okay, so average elevation 400 to 600, okay, meter. Iron ore orogeny, so iron is present in this region, and most mineralized part. And this region is extended in the Odisha region, Kyojhar, Mayurbhanj, Sundargarh, in the, and in the east there is a Garjat hills in the Odisha. तो इसका अगर आप देखेंगे सेभूम region, it is not lies only in the Jharkhand but extended in Odisha region. ये जो क्योझर देख रहे हो, it is not in Jharkhand, it is in Odisha. Mayurbhanj is in Odisha, Sundargarh is in Odisha, and the Garjat Hills is in Odisha. So you must mark on the atlas the Garjat Hills. Okay. Now, which forms the boundary of that? Garjat Hills जो है वो ईस्टर्न साइड में बाउंड्रीज बनाते हैं, ठीक है ना, शेभूम का. So Sebhum region is known for the iron ore deposits as well as the magnesium and the manganese, nickel, and in certain patches there is a uranium is also present, the nuclear fuel. Now comes to the Chhattisgarh basin in the eastern plateau and hills region. Now learn about the Chhattisgarh basin. This basin is formed by the river of the Chhattisgarh, of course. Okay, so south of Chotanagpur plateau, this basin is there. Basin क्या होता है? The land of depression, which is where the rivers forms what? It's formed by the alluvial deposit of the rivers. ये ठीक है. So this is a fertile region, okay, made up of the sandstone and schist, and Dandakaranya is in south of this basin. Garjat Hill in the east in Odisha, and Maikal in the west. So what is the boundary? Chotanagpur in the north, okay, Dandakaranya in the south. In the western side there is a Maikal and Amarkantak, as you know, and in the east there is a Garjat Hills. So इनके बीच में एक साइड में छोटा नागपुर हो गया, दूसरे साइड में दंडकारण्य हो गया, इधर मैकाल और अमरकंटक हो गए, और इधर गर्जत हिल्स हो गए. तो ये बाउंड्रीज बनाते हैं. बीच में ये जो डिप्रेशन है, एरिया जो है लो लैंड, इसे आप कहते हो छत्तीसगढ़ बेसिन. छत्तीसगढ़ बेसिन. Okay. Maikal and Amarkantak and Dandakaranya. दंडकारण्य इन दिस नाउ। तो अब ये डिप्रेशन है, थाली की तरह का है, सॉशर शेप्ड। व्हाट इज द शेप ऑफ दिस बेसिन इज सॉशर शेप्ड, सॉशर मीन्स प्लेट, ओके। ड्रेन्ड बाय द शिवनाथ रिवर, द ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ महानदी, और फिर इस और क्या है, ईब हासदो मांद रिवर, ओके। एंड नोन एज द राइस बाउल ऑफ इंडिया बिकॉज ऑफ राइस मोनोकल्चर। यहाँ क्या खेती करते हैं लोग, राइस की खेती करते हैं केवल, ठीक है, इसलिए। सो शिवनाथ एज वेल एज यही आपको ईब, हासदो और मंड रिवर भी मिलेंगे, ठीक है। So these rivers forms the basin, okay। क्लियर। देखो, जब हम बात करते हैं बेसिन की, मैंने आपको आपके साथ डिस्कस किया था कि व्हाट इज बेसिन व्हेन आई वाज डिस्कसिंग द लैंड फॉर्म। देखो ये रिज होते हैं, जब ये माउंटेन्स हैं, से फॉर एग्जांपल दीज आर द माउंटेन्स और हाईलैंड, ओके। से फॉर एग्जांपल दिस इज द हाईलैंड, प्लेटू होगा, माउंटेन होगा, तो यहाँ से जब रिवर ओरिजिनेट होंगी, कहीं भी पहाड़ से नदी निकलेगी, तो ऐसे डाउन द स्लोप फ्लो करेगी। अभी फिर यहाँ से भी रिवर आएगी तो इसका वाटर ऐसे आ जाएगा, इसी में, इसी चैनल में आ जाएगा, या यहाँ पैरेलली। तो मैंने कहा कि महानदी की ट्रिब्यूटरी, कि मांद, हासदो, शिवनाथ, ये सारी रिवर है, उनके पानी महानदी में आ रहे हैं, तो ऐसे कहीं पहाड़ से निकली होगी, फिर वो डाउन द स्लोप आई होगी, फिर नदी जहाँ मिली उसमें पानी उसका मिलता चला गया। तो ये एरिया जो डिप्रेशन है, इसे हम बेसिन कहते हैं, ठीक है ना। ये महानदी का बेसिन है, यानी महानदी और उसकी जितनी सहायक नदियां हैं, जहां भी पहाड़ों से, प्लेटू से निकलेंगी, सबका पानी यहीं आएगा, और सब सेडिमेंट्स अपना डिपॉजिट करेंगी, और ये फ्लड प्लेन बनेगा, बाढ़ का मैदान, वो फर्टाइल लैंड जिसमें लोग वहाँ राइस मोनोकल्चर करते हैं, ठीक है ना। तो ये जो है, ये है क्या, बेसिन, ठीक है। तो जो छत्तीसगढ़ बेसिन देख रहे हो, वो छत्तीसगढ़ बेसिन किसने बनाया, महानदी की ट्रिब्यूटरी ने बनाया, ठीक है। तो दिस इज अ फर्टाइल लैंड। सो व्हाट इज द बेसिन, बेसिन इज सेपरेटेड। अब दूसरी जो मेजर रिवर होगी, वो पहाड़ एक अलग, ये पहाड़ से अलग होगी, उसकी वैली यहाँ, ये बीच में पहाड़, पहाड़ के ऊपर खड़े रहोगे, एक नदी इधर बहती हुई दिखाई देगी, एक नदी इधर, इस पहाड़ के स्लोप से सारी नदियां इसमें पानी लेकर आएंगी, इधर की नदियां उस नदी में पानी लेके जाएंगी। तो दो नदियों के बीच में रिज जो होता है, वो वाटर डिवाइड होता है, इसी को कहते हैं वाटर डिवाइड। मैंने कल आपको बताया था कि अरावली वाटर डिवाइड का काम करती है, पंजाब की नदियाँ, हरियाणा की नदियाँ, ठीक है ना, जैसे इंडस और उसकी ट्रिब्यूटरी अरावली के वेस्टर्न साइड में बहती हैं, गंगा यमुना और उसकी ट्रिब्यूटरी अरावली के ईस्टर्न साइड में बहती हैं। तो अरावली जो है, वो वाटर डिवाइड का काम करता है, समझ रहे हो ना। ये माउंटेन जब भी खड़ा हो जाएंगे, तो एक स्लोप इधर की तरफ चला गया, एक स्लोप इधर की तरफ चला गया, नदियां कुछ इधर फ्लो करेंगी, कुछ इधर फ्लो करेंगी, बीच में पहाड़ क्या बनाता है, पहाड़ या प्लेटू जो होते हैं, वो वाटर डिवाइड का काम करते हैं। सो this is the concept of basin. When I am using the word basin, basin is a depressed area where the entire water is accumulated, which the water source of origin is this ridge, और यहाँ रेनफॉल जब होगा, इसीलिए इन क्षेत्रों में जाओगे तो नदी की ओरिजिन कहाँ है, किसी वाटरफॉल से, ठीक है ना, किसी कुंड से, कुंड यानी मतलब क्या हो गया, देयर इज अ टैंक, नेचुरल टैंक, वहाँ बन जाते हैं, और उससे फिर पानी धीरे धीरे निकलने लगता है, एंड दैट फॉर्म्स द रिवर्स, ओके। सो नाउ लेट्स understand. So I had discussed about Chhattisgarh basin. Now Dandakaranya Plateau. In the Chhattisgarh, then again this region lies in the eastern plateau and hills. So include the region of Odisha and Chhattisgarh. It is extended the Bastar region of Chhattisgarh, which is very deprived belt, and the ethnic tribal community are living in this belt, and this belt is densely forested, and that's why the Naxals hides in that region, and this region is infamous for the Naxal operations. And adjacent district of Andhra Pradesh is also forms the borders, okay, of the Dandakaranya. Average elevation 400 to 600 meter, rainfall 1200 centimeter, और अगर आप देखेंगे sometimes, और basically millimeter होना चाहिए 1200, 120 centimeter or more than sometimes, okay. So basically in this region what you find that tropical monsoon deciduous forest and savanna grassland. So that's why what I have said, this 120 centimeter rainfall is received by this region, so adequate green vegetation is present. Largely the monsoonal deciduous trees are present in that region: shal, teak, sesam, khair, mahua, okay, all these kind of variety are there in this region, as well as the savanna grassland is there. Savanna grassland जानते हो tall grasses होती हैं. In this region some tribes practice झूम cultivation, especially the Gond tribes. अभी देखेंगे कि Gond tribes और ये cattle raisers भी हैं. Okay. Now Abuz Maria tribe is also there. So this region is a tribal belt. Okay. So you find that tribe. Now this region is known for coal, iron ore, manganese, okay, bauxite. For bauxite, a very famous mines is located there, Baladila. क्या mine है वहाँ? Baladila. Baladila is very famous mines. You can mark on your atlas. Okay, further I will discuss when I will discuss the resources. So mineral resource में मैं discuss करूँगा the important mines and the distribution of bauxite especially. So the Dandakaranya plateau, but that is the socio-economically very backward region of the Chhattisgarh. As you know, the Bastar region is socio-economically backward, and that's why what I have said, that due to socio-economic backwardness, the Naxal operation is there. So Naxal try to take the advantage of this backwardness. So especially now, the operation is going on against the Naxal in this region, and the government is trying to persuade the peoples who won't support the Naxals, okay, and the developmental activity is going on in this region. And now what we find that gradually the Naxal base is reducing in this region, shrinking. Now next